So yesterday you probably saw my video on how to use Cursor Composer to generate a backend in less than 2 minutes with one prompt. So what I'm going to show you is how to actually build on that in your workflow, and this is exactly what I do. So you'll see here I have a Cursor Composer project. So this is a relatively new feature in Cursor. You can go Shift-Command-I in Cursor, and in the bottom left here you'll see this Create New button. What you want to do is create a new project here and then name it. And what you can do here, you'll see in the top left, you can see my projects. I have this backend project, and what I have in the middle here is this is kind of the instructions area, right? So this is your prompt for this project. You can see I have a list of instructions, and the idea here is I'm basically instructing the system, I'm instructing the AI in Cursor exactly how I want it to work anytime I need a new backend feature so that it knows exactly what it needs to do. Right, this is very similar to how it would communicate with somebody like on my real team, right? The idea is you have instructions, you give it to the AI, and it does the work, okay? So that's point one. Point two is that you have focused files here on the right. So the cool thing about Cursor projects is that you can add reusable pieces of context, right? So this is super useful for, like, say you have a specific type of feature, right? Say like you have an organization feature where users can sign up with their teams or whatever, and you create an organization project, you attach all those related files in here, you give it some instructions, some background, some context, some things it needs to know. What you can do is you can actually reuse these projects anytime you want. So you'll see in the bottom right, I have a composer area. What we're going to do is we're going to actually create a new instance of a composer, and you'll see attached here, I have this backend attached. Okay, so this is indicating that in my composer instance that I have that entire project attached. So that's awesome. So if we go over to the left here, this is the video I did yesterday. If you haven't watched that, want to get up to speed. But we have this really ugly basic app in a super-based project here. If I go over to my public file here, you'll see we have an example table. Okay, and that's all we have right now. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to add like a little bit of a feature here. So that we can go ahead and do something a little bit fancier. So what I'm going to say is, let's say we want a list of like, let's just do this. I'm going to use voice feature because I really recommend you do stuff like this because you can use voice about 3 times faster than you can type. So watch this. We just need a really basic kind of Airbnb clone here. So the idea is we want the ability to just make listings and view those listings. That's all we need for right now. We're just going to go ahead and keep it really basic. So scaffold out anything you need on the back end to do that. Okay, so we're going to just do like a really basic kind of travel booking site here, and let's just use this as a really basic example to show you how you can kind of work here. So you can see we're getting a listing schema, which is awesome. If I open up Composer in the kind of command control panel view here, you'll see we get all the listing queries, listing actions. So the idea is it basically is creating us this listing table here, and it's doing every single thing I need in my database, right? Even down to exporting things and including things in the schema. It's writing all the queries I need. It's writing all the actions I need right now. And you can see it's doing a complete 5-file creation, which is absolutely awesome. It's handling every single thing we need, and it's going to kind of walk us through how to do this. So this is great. So you can see, looks like all that works pretty complete. We just need to wait for Composer to kind of finish up its working. You can see it's working here in the chat. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit accept all. That's going to accept everything. And you'll see it's going to instruct us to run these 2 commands really quick in terminal. This is how we actually get this applied. Okay, so this generate file will create us a new SQL file here. And then if we do migrate here, that's actually going to apply it to our Supabase project. So if I jump into Supabase, you'll see we now have a listings table, which is great. But our front end is obviously really ugly. And this is where things get cool, and this is where projects get super useful. So because I was able to create a Composer instance for the backend work there, what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to create a new project here. And what we're going to do is we're going to call this front end for listings. Okay, and we're going to walk through everything that I mentioned in the backend one, except we're going to do it for a new feature here, which we have for listings. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to say we need to be able to view all listings. We need to be able to create a new listing. Let's say we need search to work. We'll even do like some subtasks here. So like search should work on location, price, etc. We'll just see what it does there. Okay, that's probably enough. And what I can do in my focus files is because I added that schema in the backend, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to search for listing and files, and we're going to add the schema, we're going to add the queries, and we're going to add the actions. Okay, so this is kind of all of the backend stuff that the front end is going to need access to in order to do its work. And once I have this done, what we can do here is go in the bottom right and open a new composer. Okay, so instead of the backend project as context this time, what we have this time is we actually have the front end project as context. Okay, so what we're actually going to do is we're going to say Okay, please implement the front end project here. You should have all the context you need. It should go on a slash listings page. So any components you write, make sure to do a page there, and then any component should go into components slash listings for managing all of that stuff. Okay, so now it's going to actually go and do the front end side of things for me. So if we go into command panel again, you're going to see if we click on this composer instance, it's generating that page we asked for at the correct route. It's generating the components we asked for at the correct place in our file, in our project here. And so if we go ahead and accept all, what we should be able to do here is we should be able to go to our project slash listings, and we should get a page here. Oh, if I would spell it right, that would help. Okay, it looks like we're getting an export error. Again, I've said this in other videos, but one of the things you have to keep in mind with some of this stuff is that the AI will typically get you, it looks like we didn't get that applied for some reason. I wonder if we just need maybe we have a little bit of a composer bug here. That's all good. Let's go ahead and accept that and see if it put the code in. Okay, looks like we're getting a little bit of an issue here. That's all fine. We'll just copy and paste it. It wrote the code anyways, right? Okay, so now if we go to our page, we see a listings page. And now this should theoretically work. Okay, so one of the things that we're going to need is we're actually going to need some seed data for this. So what we can do here is we can jump back into that composer instance if I hit Command I, and we're going to say, in my DB folder, please create me a seed.sql file with some seed listings that I can use. I'm going to run this on my Supabase project. Okay, what this is going to do, this is going to generate us some seed data. Again, all of the schema stuff was attached as context here. So what it can do here is it can actually generate some seed data for us. What we're going to do is we're going to jump into the SQL editor right here in Supabase, and we're actually going to run that so that we can play around with some test data. So let's go ahead and accept that. I'm going to go into the seed file here, and we're just going to go really lazy. We're going to copy and paste this, post this into our SQL editor here and run this. And this is going to inject a bunch of different listings here. So now if we go back into our app and hit refresh, you're going to see all that data. Okay, so we have a front end now. Let's see if some of the features that we asked for actually work. Okay, so we wanted search. So if we search, let's see, rustic cabin. Let's search for cabin and see if we get anything back. Okay, so it looks like that feature is not hooked up yet. That's all good. We can hook that up with Composer. Let's see if create works. I'm going to say McKay's house. Great place. Let's say it's 0. It's going to be free. And we're going to say it's on Mars. Okay, so let's create that. Looks like we're maybe getting that down here. Okay, so all the create features work. So let's go back into Composer and just make sure that it gets the search stuff right. And we're just going to say, looks like the search features didn't quite get built out right. Can you just go double check on that stuff? Okay, and again, the entire point about Cursor Composer is you can actually iteratively build, right? So it's going to get things wrong sometimes, but that's all good. The AI models are going to get better. The UX and cursor is going to get better. All of this stuff's going to get better. And in the meantime, you can just continue to iterate back and forth with it. Okay, so let's go ahead and see if this works now. Let's go search for cabin. Okay, cool. So the search works on cabin. Let's see, we have this 2,800 price. Let's see if the price search works. Okay, price search works too. So we got every single thing we asked for. We were able to do this exclusively in kind of the Cursor Composer projects view. So this is really how you can accelerate your workflow. I use this all the time in all of my real projects. You can see we went from, just a very basic scaffolded backend with some example stuff to it, actual kind of real world use case here with a working front end.